And coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is our Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show. I'm, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and I thank those of you that are checking out this episode tonight on July 3rd, 2012. We're just a day away from the 4th of July holiday. I hope you all have made your plans. I hope that you all have gone to the grocery store and you got all the fixings that you're going to be needing to have a very fantastic barbecue. I hope you got plans to go check out some fireworks wherever your local hangout spots may be for the fireworks. Hope you all are going to be able to go out and see the movies, enjoy the sights. Plenty of good selections in the theaters this time around. We just had Spider-Man make its premiere earlier this morning, so they got a head start to the holiday week, and I'm hearing nothing but good things that's happening for the Spider-Man movie so far. A lot of great, fantastic reviews are going to be coming in. And for those of you that just so happen to be comic book fans, definitely this weekend we're going to have your hookup. We're going to have a special edition of the RCWR Show where I'm going to be making it be my business to interact with fans that have seen the Spider-Man movie. So if you aren't able to go check it out, don't worry, we got you covered. We're going to be interviewing people, and I'll definitely chime in my thoughts on the movie as well. We just saw Smackdown, a super edition live episode of Smackdown, as it was being dubbed the Great American Bash edition, that just went off the air not too long ago. Somewhat impressive. My whole thing that I was saying to myself the entire time as I was watching the episode was, where exactly is the American Bash? Because it's supposed to have a pay-per-view quality type of feel, and I just wasn't really getting that as I was watching this. It just really came off like a standard episode of SmackDown, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not crapping on it, because SmackDown, they have been producing a better product than SmackDown within recent weeks, and this episode alone was definitely no exception. But at the same time, you're dubbing it the Great American Bash. You're saying that this is something that is a first for WWE, a first for SmackDown, as the Great American Bash is themed around SmackDown, and just really wasn't coming off that way. But we'll definitely be covering more about SmackDown tonight later on in our show. We definitely have a lot of wrestling news that we got to cover, and we definitely are going to do our best to get through it all, as it's been a very, very active week, especially from the TNA aspect of things. So we're going to try to see if we can get into a little bit of entertainment news, but if we're not able to, we'll definitely follow up and get you all ready for the weekend on our Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown. I made sure that we had enough time on tonight's show, as we're going to do a deluxe episode tonight, to complement what had happened on Raw and to complement what happened on SmackDown and to complement wrestling-related news. So if we can squeeze in entertainment news, we'll definitely get it out there. I know there is one story that I definitely will be mentioning tonight, and it wouldn't be fair to not mention this guy. And for those of you that might have been paying attention to our Twitter feeds, Facebook, you all know exactly who I'm talking about, but we'll save that for a little bit on later in the show. Just want to thank those of you that are taking the time out to listen to this broadcast, whether you are listening to it live or you're going to be checking it out on downloads, YouTube, Stitcher. Hey, we appreciate you. We definitely love you guys. Appreciate it. And the numbers just continue to come in for our YouTube channel as we're continuing to pick up new subscribers. And I had actually received some comments from a few people that took the liberty of checking out some of our shows on YouTube. And one user, unfortunately, I don't have their name right now, but they know exactly who they are, because apparently they've been checking out all our shows since day one, and they said, hey, you have a really nice voice. I really love listening to all the episodes that you do. You're actually one of my main go-to guys now when I need wrestling news, because you handle it so good. I like your approach to it. Keep it up. Keep up the fantastic work. And I love that. I definitely appreciate that love. I had another guy that said, hey, I can only imagine how you do the next time around when you get another co-host, as the first go-around you were doing pretty damn good, but I can only imagine how it's going to be when you get a co-host. Hope it happens soon, but in the meantime, I enjoy hearing you do your solo thing. And, hey, definitely appreciate that as well. Now, we just got to let you guys know that with regards to the 4th of July holiday, I know usually me, co-producer Tammy Zed, we're always active on our wrestling website. We're always posting article content. Dude, it's the 4th of July. We are going to go MIA for 24 hours. Well-deserved rest. We have just been working nonstop getting the radio show and the website where it needs to be. So we are definitely going to be taking a well-deserved day off. And, hey, we're definitely going to be celebrating. So, kickback for those of you that are listening to this show right now with regards to coming on live on the air. We'll just wait for the cue to jump on in and call into the show. We'll definitely be opening up the phone lines in a little bit, but we got a lot of wrestling we're going to cover. I'm thinking what we'll probably do is we'll open up the phone lines right after we get done talking about the Smackdown review. That would be a good way to incorporate you all that's listening that want to chime in your thoughts before we go into wrestling-related news. So hope you have a cold one because it's been pretty hot past few days. Pull up a chair, relax, get comfortable. Let's dive right into it, shall we, folks? Okay, so last we were on the air with you guys, a lot of good things has been happening for us over here. Our show has been getting so popular that we have other websites that have been taking the liberty of cashing in on our hard work, and they've been putting our shows on their website, and they haven't even gotten any type of written consent from us. Now, this is where I stand on this because this decision was not easy for me to make. Now, as you, the YouTube audience, know, usually when we put our shows up on YouTube, it's exclusive. We remix them, we re-edit them, try to make it as clean as possible. If we have any skips, glitches, whatever, we try to clean it up as best as possible. And a lot of times we'll upload it to YouTube, and then there's rare occasions where if we do a pretty bad episode on Blog Talk Radio, because sometimes the software on Blog Talk gets a little off, we'll replace the episode as we're cleaning it up for YouTube. So one of the things that we notice is that a lot of people have been taking our shows off of YouTube, and as I said earlier, they put it on their website. They haven't gotten written consent in any type of form, and it's making our jobs a little bit harder, and it's making the people that are going about it right, it's giving them a hard time too, because we actually saw that there are several websites that are doing it right. They're providing all the links. They're making sure that the links are clickable so that it takes you directly to our content, whether it's subscribing to us on iTunes, Zune, marketplaces, you name it. They're doing it right, but unfortunately you have some of these websites that are sitting up and you're getting misdirects, and it's ridiculous. Now, one website I saw in particular, I know some of you are probably saying, oh, why are you mentioning this? Just bear with me, and we'll definitely go right into the wrestling-related news. I bring this up because how would you feel if you happen to be a parent and your kid likes wrestling and they're 10, 11 years old, and you happen to like this show and you want your kid to listen to it, right? So your kid is maybe, playing around on Google or what have you, and, oh, yeah, Dad said that show, the RCWR show, and you click on a link, and this is literally what happened to us as we were searching through several links. One of the links that we had clicked on redirected us to a porn site, and it had nothing to do with our shows. The RCWR wasn't even mentioned anywhere. It was just a link that said the RCWR show, blah, 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 on this episode. You click it, you get sent to a porn site. So what we end up, or what we're going to be doing now from here on out, we are going to be disabling embedding our shows on websites on YouTube. Now, for you all that's listening that have taken our shows in the past and you've put them on the website, you guys know who you are that have been doing it the wrong way. We are very well aware of you, and if you somehow continue to manage to put our shows on those type of sites or just any type of sites in general, and you don't take the liberty of getting consent from us first, then we will seek legal action against you. That's all we have to say about that. Now, we know that there are those that have been doing it right. Hey, we apologize if your job has become more difficult, but if you're really serious about having your content, having on your websites our content be on your sites, then go that extra mile. We're very friendly over here. All you got to do is just send us an email at infinityOneProductions.com. At infinityOneProductions@gmail.com. infinityOneProductions@gmail.com. Let us know about your site, things of that nature. We'll be more than happy to accommodate you. It's no problem at all, but we are not going to tolerate misdirects and all that. I'm sure many of you, now that you've heard what I say, you could probably say to yourself, yeah, that is pretty messed up now that you think about it. And just imagine, if you will, it's equivalent to you're sitting up, you're working really hard on a project, you're putting all the man hours into it, and you're very proud of what you have. You're saying, God damn, that's good. I did a damn good job right there. Man, a lot of hard work. Man, it's paying off real good. And then somebody comes along, right? And then they just tippy-toe. They grab your stuff, and they're using it for their own personal gain. And you're kind of like, I'm not even getting a proper nod from my stuff, man. What the hell is going on? So I'm sure those of you will appreciate that. All right, so without any further ado, I just had to get that out there. Thank you for bearing with me, you all. Let's jump right into wrestling-related news. Okay, so we were on the air. A lot of things has happened. Definitely going to get you caught up. Let's cover WWE Raw, shall we? So we saw a pretty strong episode of WWE Raw as we're just a couple of weeks away from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And I must say that this past Monday night's Raw was one of the best Raws I've seen in recent weeks. Now, for those of you that were listening to us last Tuesday night, you're probably saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, wouldn't last week have been a little better, Lee, as opposed to this past Monday night's Raw? I mean, hey, we saw the return of Psycho Sid. It didn't really get any better than that, and it just seemed to be more polished. Nah, I beg to differ. I was more pleased with what I had saw of this past Monday night's Raw when compared to last week's, as we would see John Cena kick things off, comes down to the ring. He's addressing the WWE Universe, talking about how his preparation for the contract match, ladder match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and he's being very sarcastic when he gives praise to Jericho and Big Show that what they did to him last week is helping him prepare for the Money in the Bank match. As we all have learned by now, turns out, throughout John Cena's illustrious 10-year career in the WWE, in some shape or form, how it's even possible, who knows, but in some weird twist of luck, he has never been involved in a Money in the Bank ladder match. And we're going to be covering more on John Cena later tonight, because I sat up over the weekend and I saw this really interesting list, which was John Cena's top 50 matches of all time. And we're going to be dissecting that list really good. We're not going to make it lengthy, but I looked at this list, and I do a lot of proofreading, so you can give me something that's probably about 40 pages long, and I'll be done reading it in about 60 seconds. So I'm reading this list. I'm done with the list in like 10 seconds. And the first thing that comes into my mind as I'm reading this article piece is, okay, you have 4 or 5 guys that worked on this list, and yet they missed 10 matches. They missed 10 matches. These are 5 guys, 5 writers, and I was able to pick this up. We're going to have fun with that list in a little bit. But John Cena, he's talking about how he's trying to get prepared for this Money in the Bank match, and that he's trying to begin to conceive the idea of possibly winning this contract ladder match, and from there becoming the new contender for the WWE title and possibly winning the Covenant prize once again, as it's been a year since John Cena has held the title. But we would see the number one contender, Daniel Bryan, come out, followed by the WWE champion, CM Punk. Chris Jericho wasn't too far behind, as they all had a really nice battle of words. I thought this was highly entertaining. It was one of the highlights of the night, I feel. One of two highlights coming from Chris Jericho, the Fozzy frontman, the Ayatollah of rock and roller, the Mr. Wannabe, as he would sit up and have a battle of words with Daniel Bryan, and he was getting on him about his catchphrases, telling him that, hey, you need to be more clever, you need to be more sophisticated, you got to have more than just one catchphrase. And Jericho, he just made one of two Y2J, he brought back the Y2J persona, if you will, from the WWF Attitude Era, and I was just really having fun with this, as he was just going all over the place, just busting them out. Never, ever again. I was loving it. It was the Jericho that I could remember tuning in for, as I wasn't sure what was going on with this Jericho that's recently returned earlier this year. And from there, we would see Kane make his way down to the ring, and from there, all hell would just break loose, as once again the spotlight is being put on the Big Show, who is really coming off more and more looking as though he is possibly, and I use the word strongly, possibly, going to be getting a run as the WWE Champion. And we know that a lot of people, they aren't really having that. They aren't really trying to digest that, because a lot of people feel that his time has been up. He doesn't deserve this push. I beg to differ. When you really have been paying attention to the career of Paul White, a.k.a. The Big Show, you follow his career as long as I have, as long as your veteran wrestling fan has, I think that it's a bit of a nice gesture that WWE is doing for the Big Show, because let's be honest, this guy has been involved in some really pathetic, ridiculous matches that just kind of make you say, wow, for a guy his massive size and his strength, he was involved in that, or, hey, he did this gimmick, what was he thinking? So I can appreciate WWE really trying to push the heck out of this guy. Where it's going to end up, I'm not really sure, but I can respect for what they're doing for the Big Show right now. As from there, folks, we would see a Charlie Sheen plug once again. Let's not forget, Charlie Sheen is going to be the social media ambassador for the 1000th episode of Raw, coming up on July 23rd. You know, we had a fantastic episode of Impact Showdown last Thursday where we reviewed his debut show, Anger Management, on FX. It was myself and the lovely co-producer Tammy, who made a rare appearance, and that was a really great piece. We had actually received a little bit of feedback from that. If you haven't checked out last Thursday night's Impact Showdown, I highly recommend that you go check that out when you get a chance. Very great piece right there. We're already hearing the buzz about Charlie Sheen, but we'll go more into that possibly later on tonight or Thursday if we have the time. First match tonight, we would see a 4-on-4 tag match as Christian teamed up with Santino, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and they defeated the team of Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, David Otunga, Cody Rhodes, and this was a great match as we would see manager AW grab his clients, the primetime players, and basically say, okay, we're not going to have anything to do with this match. Let's just get out of here. I kind of had a little bit of a hard time accepting that, because keep in mind that on WWE's Raw this past Monday night, the special guest general manager was Teddy Long. And I was just waiting for Teddy Long to come out and say, hey, player, let me holler at you for a second. No, that's not what's going to be happening. You either get in that ring right now or you're going to be stripped of your number one contender spots for the tag team titles. Holla at you, player. I was expecting something like that. Instead, we would see Teddy Long backstage dancing to Brodus Clay's music, because at some point during this contest, towards the end of this tag match, we would see Brodus Clay come out, and he was trying to get a little bit of payback on David Otunga, and everybody was just crapping on David Otunga left and right. I mean, Santino just comes in with the Cobra Strike, Christian comes in with the Kill Switch, Brodus Clay comes in with his modified version of Ultimate Warrior's Body Splash, and they just really ganged up on Otunga big time. And post-match, they're all celebrating with the little kids, and you cut to the backstage area, you see Teddy Long, he's just doing this ridiculous dance, coming off like a mentally challenged individual. I'm just calling it how I see it. I'm trying to be as delicate with the words as possible. Notice I did not say the R word. I said mentally challenged, but that's just how he came off, because as long as I've been watching Teddy Long, I have never seen him dance like that. So it just looked completely forced and out of character, I feel, because usually he's throwing his hands up in the air and he's, kind of going to the left, going to the right, in a 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock direction, like, hey, ho, hip-hop, hey, oh, he's kind of got that little vibe going on to him. And we would see Alberto Del Rio interrupt his dancing, thankfully, and point out to Mr. Long that, hey, it's been a long time since I've had the opportunity to have what's rightfully mine, which is my match for the World Heavyweight title, as Del Rio would point out to Teddy Long that he earned the right initially the Friday before WrestleMania 28, which was basically 3 months ago, and that he hasn't gotten the opportunity to have his match since. And that every time, it seems like just when he's about to get involved in having that opportunity, it seems it gets snatched away from him, as he's involved in a triple threat, a fatal four-way, a contract on a pole match. Just recently, Del Rio was out due to injury, and as we all know, that was just a big old crock. He was being a big crybaby. He was having a hard time with his contract. He didn't like the way he was being utilized, what have you, and he decided he wanted to play a little bit of tough ball with WWE, if you will, and that's why he wasn't involved on the No Way Out pay-per-view a couple of weeks back. We had reported on this on a recent episode of the RCWR Show. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go backwards and check out the archives to get updated. But in a nutshell, that's basically what's been going on with Del Rio, and he would say to Teddy Long, hey, it's a little bit unfair. Give him what's rightfully his, what he feels he deserves. Well, Teddy Long will point out to Del Rio that according to the WWE Board of Directors, he will be getting the opportunity to face Sheamus one-on-one for the World Heavyweight title at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Now, that's in 2 weeks. As far as tonight was concerned, Teddy Long was going to put Del Rio in a match against a mystery opponent, something that he is dubbing as the Teddy Long surprise. Now, from there, we would see a Raw 1000th moment as the very lovely Stephanie McMahon, and I am always happy when I see Stephanie McMahon make a return in some shape or form to WWE programming. She is just very beautiful, very stunning. I mean, she just seems to look better with age. I'm just in love with Stephanie McMahon. She's awesome. But she would recall her favorite moment, which was back in January of 1999 when Shane McMahon was helping Vince McMahon train to take on Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was a pretty awesome moment right there. Our second match of the night, we would see Alberto Del Rio in action as he's trying to figure out who's this opponent that he's going to be taking on. Well, it would be no other than a longtime rival of his. That's right, a longtime nemesis that goes as far back as SmackDown. It would be no other than Sin Cara. That's right, folks. It would be Sin Cara that would be revealed as the Teddy Long surprise. But Sin Cara, unfortunately, he didn't even make it that far. I mean, the guy was trying to do his little entrance. Alberto Del Rio, he didn't even wait for the bell. He just started to attack the living hell out of Sin Cara, took it over to the announcer's table, just started laying the kicks to his head before finishing it up with a cross arm breaker, and talk about sending a very loud message to the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus. Well, Del Rio, we believe that Sheamus got that message loud and clear. Message delivered. Goodbye. Now, from there, we would see a very awkward moment where Paul Heyman is getting prepped for his interview, as he's going to be doing it via satellite, as he's going to be informing us of what is going to be happening with regards to Brock Lesnar possibly accepting Triple H's challenge to go one-on-one at the SummerSlam pay-per-view. Now, I just got to touch up on this for a little bit. We had so many fans that were excited to see Brock Lesnar appear on WWE Raw that night. I'm not sure why, but a lot of people were under the impression that Brock Lesnar was going to be appearing on that episode of Raw. And I knew it very carefully, as I am always listening to the words that are being said. I was hip to it last week, and I watched the advertisement, and I listened to the way the announcer spoke of Brock Lesnar, and a lot of things that was never said point blank, bluntly, was Brock Lesnar will be appearing on Raw to address Triple H's challenge. And I'm not sure why people sat up and said that, oh, Brock Lesnar's going to be appearing. They just said Brock Lesnar's address to Triple H will be revealed. We'll know if he's going to accept the match or not. That's all that was about. So it didn't surprise me to see Paul Heyman once again getting ready to continue to work the storyline. And I don't have a problem with that, because Paul Heyman is one of the greatest talkers on the microphone, I feel. That guy really knows how to sell a story pretty damn good, as we would hear Paul Heyman pick up right where he left off with the King of Kings, Triple H, as he continued to mock him. And acting on behalf of his client, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman would reveal that Lesnar will answer Triple H directly, face-to-face, on the 1,000th episode of Raw, coming on Monday, July 23rd. Now, at the same time, Heyman feels that the only reason why Triple H is challenging Lesnar is to give Lesnar the opportunity to end his career and an excuse to retire from in-ring activity and be a corporate suit full-time. That's what Paul Heyman believes. Now, the ECW founder and announcer would go on to say that if the two of them were to have a match, it wouldn't be a match. It would be a mercy killing. And Paul Heyman would just quietly and devilishly just laugh to himself to end this very intriguing interview via satellite. And I must say, I am just loving how this is continuing to develop between these two guys. I love how this story is being pushed forward when we don't even have the main attraction, Brock Lesnar himself. And I honestly feel that when Brock Lesnar does return for the 1,000th episode of Raw, it is definitely going to be something that is going to be memorable. If you want to pick my brain right now and you want to say to me, how do I see this playing out when Brock Lesnar does return, the writing is on the wall. I mean, you can see it. You really don't even have to be a writer, because it's right there for the taking. Just picture it. You got DX returning on the 1,000th episode of Raw. You know Brock Lesnar is going to do something to Shawn Michaels. He is going to hurt Shawn Michaels so badly that at the same time, Brock Lesnar is going to be like, yeah, sure, Triple H, we're on. You just know the writing is on the wall. That's exactly how it's going to play out. I am just picturing it in my head. This will be one of the best moments for Raw in a long, long time if they do this right. I'm just hoping that the way I'm picturing it in my head, they will actually execute it properly. Now, from there, folks, we would see our next match, which would be the World Heavyweight Champion, Sheamus, taking on Dolph Ziggler, as Sheamus is teaming up with AJ to take on Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero. And I was really loving this, as Vicky Guerrero is doing something a little new now, where she is dubbing herself Queen Diva. And, hey, I can still see that her little boy toy, Dolph Ziggler, the two of them, they are still having a little bit of a friction because of the events that had occurred on last week's SmackDown, where Vicky Guerrero, man, she smacked the living hell out of Dolph Ziggler as he was trying to persuade her to help him win the World Heavyweight title in that match that he was involved in. I believe it was the triple threat match that he was involved in on last week's SmackDown, where he had to take on Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. And, of course, as we all learned, just by what I said, Ziggler came up short, but you could still feel the tension in the air between Ziggler and Guerrero. But the two of them would put their differences to the side as they would try to focus on this match. Well, we would see AJ Lee get the upset, and she would handle her business and pin Vicky Guerrero. As you know how they're doing it now with these intergender tag matches. It has to be the males taking on the males and the females taking on the females. Gone is that whole male can take on female. I just wish they would just lift that, because that's just really silly to me, I feel. But that's just me. Anyway, we would see AJ skip her little cute butt into the backstage area, and she would bump into CM Punk. And she's asking CM Punk, hey, did you see my match? Did you see my match? And CM Punk, he's trying to let her know, hey, I'm on the phone. Give me a minute. I'm on the phone right now. But AJ keeps asking him, who is it that he's talking to? And unfortunately, he had to end the conversation. It turns out he was talking to his sister. AJ wants to know if Punk saw her match. CM Punk says, no, I was on the phone. I've been on the phone for the past 15 minutes. I didn't even know you were involved in a match. And this just made AJ feel totally neglected as she just looked on at CM Punk with this scorching look. Now, from there, we would see Heath Slater take on Doink the Clown. Now, for those of you that might not remember Doink the Clown, he was part of that whole WWF Attitude Era. Personally, I can remember as a kid, I used to be a bit scared of Doink the Clown. I actually still don't like clowns to this day. If I were to see one, I'd probably punch him in the face. But that's just me. But what was so weird about this segment, and it wasn't that Heath Slater defeated Doink the Clown. I was expecting that. But I thought what was weird about that segment was that the little kids that were in the crowd, they didn't really come off excited to see a clown coming into the ring. I mean, normally you got these wrestlers that wear masks, such as Kane and Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara. You got Big Show. When he was a good guy, he was taking off his little hat and giving it to a little kid. And there used to be a time where John Cena would take off his shirt. I don't know if he still does it. I can't recall the last time I've seen him do it, but if he still does it, cool. But he would usually take his shirt off, he'd roll it up, and he'd throw it to somebody in the crowd. Here you have a clown, and the first thing that comes into my mind, even though I don't like clowns, the first thing that comes into my mind is clown, kids, happy, fun times, right? Well, we got all these adults in the crowd, we got the kids in the crowd, and they are just coming off really freaking dead as they're watching this guy. And thank God for Michael Cole and them briefing the viewers at home on just who the hell this clown was. And it was just a really awkward moment because you would have thought that the crowd would be really into this in some shape or form, but they really didn't come off that way. They were pretty dead. Well, luckily WWE, very smart booking on their part. I guess they must have realized that this was to be expected because after Heath Slater defeated Doink the Clown within record seconds, we would see the return of it's DDP, Mr. Diamond Dallas Page, DDP Yoga himself, who comes out and he's celebrating with Heath Slater. He's trying to shake his hand, let him know, hey, you did pretty good there. That was an awesome job. And he would deliver the Diamond Cutter. Randy Orton, if you're watching, you're listening, nothing beats the original, brother. You might have it dubbed as the RKO, but we all know it is the Diamond Cutter, baby. And as far as who does it better, hey, I got to give the edge to Diamond Dallas Page. 56 years old, and hey, he didn't do that much of nothing. He just did his little finisher, and that was it. But, man, did he make that look really good. If you ask me the top 5 finishing maneuvers, I would definitely have to put the RKO just below the Diamond Cutter, and on the very top, the Stone Cold Stunner. That would be my top 3 right there. Now, from there, folks, we would see our 5th match of the night, which would see Big Show defeating Kane in a no disqualification match. And I was really not invested into this match. It just really came off like 2 slow bulls just getting it on. I was very happy to see this match wrap up, as I really didn't have that much investment into it. And once again, they're doing what they can to push the hell out of Big Show. Now, the 6th match is what I like the most of Raw, as we would see Tyson Kidd, who was just coming fresh off of winning his Money in the Bank qualifying match on last week's SmackDown, continue his winning streak as he defeated Lord Tensai in true fashion, in a true upset, folks. As Kidd beat Lord Tensai, he used his speed to his advantage to quickly get a roll-up on the Japan wrestler, and he just quickly left the ring. Now, post-match, Tensai, he would take his frustrations out on his servant, Sakimoto, before finding Kidd in the backstage locker room area where he was being interviewed, and he just beat him down into a pulp and left him on the ground lying there, and you just had to wonder to yourself, man, is Tyson Kidd even going to make it to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view at this rate? Now, in a backstage segment, we would see a really fun moment where we would see Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho, and I was loving this because this has automatically, and I knew it just by watching it, this has already become a YouTube favorite for a lot of wrestling fans, as we would see Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, they're trying to get on the same page, and Daniel Bryan, he's just looking at the ridiculous light-up bright jacket that Jericho's wearing, and he's saying to him, you seriously are not going to wear that to the ring, are you? Because that just looks really stupid. And Chris Jericho, he'd say, yeah, I am, and who are you to talk with your stupid little yes jacket? You're actually going to wear that? And Daniel Bryan would just start chanting yes, and Chris Jericho is just furious, and he's saying to him, stop saying that. Stop it. Stop it. And Daniel Bryan, he's just continuing to say it, and Chris Jericho, he just busts out another Y2J moment as he just starts screaming, ever again, ever again, ever again, again, ever. It just reminded me of 2 senior citizens that were just in the middle of a verbal confrontation or something, like they're in a supermarket or they're at a flea market or something, and you just got 2 old senior citizens just right next to each other, just yes again, yes again, yes ever. Yes, again, ever. It was just really ridiculous. If you haven't seen that clip, I highly recommend you go check it out on Daily Motion YouTube. It was a really awesome moment. I start to play the audio tonight for you guys, but I just said, nah, that'll give you guys something to do during the holiday break. I'll tell you what, we'll probably play it on next Tuesday's the RCWR show. But that was a really great moment right there, and it just had me really enjoying that moment. Because, I mean, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice right now, but it was a really fun moment, and it was one of those moments that just really had me sitting up saying to myself, man, these two guys, they have really great chemistry together. Why don't the two of these guys maybe form some type of an alliance? And I think they'd be a great tag team. I think they would be a great union. I mean, look at how successful Jericho was when Chris Jericho had teamed up with the Big Show last go-round. That was very impressive. A lot of people, they didn't think it was going to quite work out, but it was very successful. I just feel that at this rate, with Chris Jericho possibly getting ready to go on another little hiatus, since Fozzie's got that new album, Sin and Bones, that's going to be coming out later in September, I believe it is. I just think it would be really awesome right now to just have these two team up for a little bit, and hey, maybe things could resume once Jericho comes back. Who knows? But really great moment right there. They were trying to get on the same page. From there, it would blend so perfectly into John Cena chatting with WWE Champion CM Punk, and he's saying, hey, look, man, you and me, we got to get on the same page. Yeah, we had our differences last year, and a lot has happened. I've changed a lot. I've grown up a lot since, you know, what happened last year, and let's just go out there. Let's just try to get on the same page. We know Jericho, Daniel Bryan, they aren't really on the same page. We need to try to capitalize on that. So they both agree that they need to be on the same page. Now, from there, it's that time. It's our main event. As if you're keeping track, 7th match of the night, we got John Cena teaming up with the WWE Champion to take on Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho. Now, if y'all have been noticing on the RCWR show, I've been very passionate about our WWE Champions ending Smackdown, Raw, ending the pay-per-views. Now, as that Meatloaf song goes, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I don't mind that. I have one little problem, though, and I think many of you will agree with this. The only reason why CM Punk was involved in the main event, just think about it for a second. I'm going to pause for 3 seconds and let you think about it. Why was the only reason CM Punk involved in the main event on Raw, you feel? Give up? Because of John Cena. Makes sense, don't it? When was the last time you can recall CM Punk on his own ending an episode of Raw? Or how about ending an episode of SmackDown? If you can't recall, it's been that freaking long. Okay? If I were a betting man, I can honestly tell you that probably the last time CM Punk ended an episode of Raw, I'm almost tempted to say it was the pipe bomb moment. But even at that involved John Cena. But he did take whatever thunder John Cena had on that night because he commanded it. It was all about him on that night and everything that he said. But since that point, I can't really recall him on his own without a John Cena ending an episode of Raw. Quite sad when you think about it, and it kind of really lets you know, as a scene in the Hostile movie goes, I believe it was Hostile 1 or Hostile 2, where the woman gets the guy at the end of the movie. It was a hooker, and she says to him, "You're my bitch now." It's nice to really see just who exactly is who's bitch in the WWE. Hey, I know some of you are probably like, hey, damn, Lee, that's a little bit cold. But, I mean, really think about it. WWE, when it comes to CM Punk, he might be the WWE champion. But gone are the days of the summer of Punk, as the way it's looking right now, he's John Cena's bitch. Y'all might not like that, especially you hardcore CM Punk fans, but we just got to, hey, we wouldn't be honest on the RCWR show if we didn't keep it real. And this has been a debate that has just been talked about several times. Hey, what's going on with CM Punk? And, I said it perfectly last week on the RCWR show. I missed the CM Punk that seemed as if he was truly going to revolutionize professional wrestling. And I still stand by the words that I said last week, which is until CM Punk reaches back into that guy that he was last year and he starts to become hungry again and he really jumps out there and he starts trying to correct whatever wrongs are happening in the WWE, then he's just going to be another John Cena as far as I'm concerned. He's just going to be another John Cena for whenever John Cena needs to be away for a couple of weeks to go do a movie, or if John Cena happens to get injured. I mean, that's literally the only time CM Punk is really going to be that go-to guy. And it's quite sad when you think about it, because I miss the CM Punk that sat up and said he wanted for things to be right in the WWE. He wanted for people to have opportunities, and, it just really doesn't... It just seems like he's just becoming more of a corporate guy. And I don't like saying that about CM Punk because I'm a huge CM Punk fan. And you have WWE, they can do the right thing. They can push that envelope. We got an article that's floating around, not us particularly, but there's an article that's floating around right now that's saying how now it's looking more and more unlikely that CM Punk is going to be taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 29. And honestly, the way WWE has been utilizing CM Punk as of late, I wouldn't even be surprised at that. Because if you were to tell me the same time last year that CM Punk could possibly take on Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania, that he could make Stone Cold come out of retirement and work a match, I would say, okay, I can see that happening because you have the anti taking on, yes, I could see that happening. That's brilliant. Let's see it happen. But with this current incarnation of CM Punk that's running around, and even Stone Cold has said it numerous times that, hey, I don't like what's happening with CM Punk right now. I don't know. No, I wouldn't face him. Not with this current gimmick that he has. He needs to be who he was before, if not better. So, quite unfortunate, but I didn't mean to go deep all into it, but it just blended so perfectly with regards to, hey, look who's ending the night of Raw, which really is John Cena. Now, we knew as we were watching this match between Cena, Punk, taking on Daniel Jericho, that AJ is surely going to be involved, just a matter of when. Well, she would come out. She would walk around the ring, go unnoticed for once, which really just irritated the hell out of her, as she went for a table under the ring, and I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, my God, I'm having a Team 3D moment as I'm seeing AJ set up the table, and I couldn't help but pull up Bubba Ray Dudley and go, AJ, get the tables, as she's just quietly setting it up, and it looks as if she's about to go up to the top turnbuckle, and she's possibly going to do some type of a weird suicide dive and crash through the table. But luckily, Daniel Bryan stops her, and he tells her, look, you don't want to do that. Don't do that. It's not worth it. Just come on down. CM Punk would try to intervene, and he would say to her, look, don't do that. You don't need to be doing that. AJ kisses CM Punk. CM Punk is stunned. She pushes him off the apron, and he crashes into Daniel Bryan as they both go crashing into the wooden table to end that episode of Monday Night Raw, as AJ is smiling devilishly at all the chaos that she has caused as she's chanting yes. Now, very good episode of Raw. I must say I was very impressed. I love the development of AJ. She is doing a more superb job than when Eve was given the ball, and that's something that I actually had missed on briefly, as Eve did make a bit of a cameo appearance in a backstage segment area where she rubbed nose-to-nose with AJ. It was a nice little moment right there, but AJ commanded the spot more, and like I said a few seconds ago, AJ has just been doing a phenomenal job, a better job than Eve, since WWE has given AJ the ball a little bit more to run with. I just am really impressed with what all she's doing. And I know Vince McMahon and crew, they're really high on Eve. I mean, who wouldn't be? She's very pretty. She has a nice shape. She's got a lot going on in the chest area. I get why they want to try to push her, but at the same time, you know, let's stick with what's really working, and if they're going to continue to work with Eve, then I like the whole backstage character thing. I think that's been working for her pretty well. She seems to be slowly starting to grow into that more. Very curious to see how they're going to incorporate her more into WWE programming now that John Laurinaitis is out of the picture, which is a little bit of a prologue, if you will, into tonight's episode of Smackdown that just went off the air. We'll definitely be bringing up Eve a little bit more. Now, with regards to this episode of Monday Night Raw, I definitely would have to give it I liked what I saw. I'll have to give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty good episode. I love seeing the return of Diamond Dallas Page. Crowd was a little bit not really sure who he was at first, but they kind of started clicking in their head at the end. It was probably because he got rid of the mullet. That's probably what might have threw him off a little bit. Who knows? But, yeah, that's going to do it for Raw. I thought it was really good. I love how on the Raw side of things, their respected ladder match, contract match for the WWE title is coming into play nicely. Like how they're continuing to go with Dolph Ziggler there. Just all around, it was pretty good. This is what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a brief commercial break. And, guys, we're just getting started. That was just WWE Raw. Now we got to cover SmackDown. So we'll actually be able to blaze through SmackDown a little bit more quickly. And we're going to, because I definitely want to bring up this John Cena list for those of you that have not had the opportunity of checking it out. We definitely want to dissect that. And we definitely need to go into wrestling-related news. A lot of stuff has been happening since last we were on the air. It's just really ridiculous what's been going on. So we're going to do this. We're going to take a brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, we're going to go into the SmackDown review. And pretty soon we'll definitely open up the phone line commercials. Oh, I almost forgot. Can't mention Monday Night Raw without mentioning the awesome commercial that had came on after Raw went off the air, which was truly hilarious, as you have Vince McMahon get on the phone and tell, I believe it was Triple H originally, hey, let everybody know. No, it was John Cena. He called John Cena, who was listening to his music in his headphones, and he told Cena, hey, let everybody know that July 23rd we're going to be moving to 8 o'clock p.m. And John Cena, he really wasn't sure what he heard, so he tried to come up with whatever it was that Vince had said to him, possibly, and we would just see what's this about cake, and eventually it would end with Triple H telling Vince, hey, Vince, I brought Khali so he could check your prostate, as Khali slaps on a glove on his hand, and Vince McMahon takes a big gulp and is like, oh, no. So I thought that commercial was really awesome. If you haven't checked that out, you definitely want to look that up on YouTube. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take that commercial break, and then we're going to go on ahead and we're going to talk about the latest episode of SmackDown live that just went off the air not too long ago. So hope you're enjoying the show so far. Hang tight. You're listening to the Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show. We will be right back, folks. Hang tight.
You're listening to the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders.
All right, and we're back. You're listening to the Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show. I am, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. And as the game of Street Fighter goes, round 2, fight! Okay, so we're back. And you know what? We just had to pay homage to a TV icon right there. I was truly shocked earlier this afternoon. I had just got done probably having a bowl of cereal just to jumpstart my day, and I'm in front of my computer looking up wrestling articles, and I happened to come across the very sad news that Andy Griffith had passed away at the age of 85. Now, he passed around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at his home on Roanoke Islands, authorities had said. And at the request of his family, his body was lowered into a grave on the island at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, this is according to a funeral spokesperson who declined to be named, citing the sensitivity of the matter. Now, he will go on to say, and I quote, "It had been planned for some time. This was the wish of his family, and it just wouldn't be fair for us to not mention Andy Griffith. I know myself, Tammy, Zed, we all grew up watching the Andy Griffith Show. We grew up watching Matlock. And, folks, if you don't know anything about the Andy Griffith Show, if you don't know about Matlock, then like I said on Twitter, because I had actually put the information out there as soon as I found out about it, if you've never watched any of those two shows, then you do not know anything about television as far as I'm concerned, because we lost a truly great TV icon, okay? That guy was just truly phenomenal. On top of being a fantastic actor, he was also a very respectable musician. It should be noted. So do yourself a favor. If you don't know anything about Andy Griffith, do yourself a favor. Go try to check him out on TV. I know at least 5 times a week they air Matlock on the WGN America channel. They also air the Andy Griffith Show. Now, I lost track of which network will play that. Sometimes I see it on TV Land, but it just seems like it's been bouncing around as of late. But I know for a fact you can catch Matlock. And let's not forget about director Ron Howard. Ron Howard, before Happy Days, a lot of people, they want to point out, oh, Ron Howard, Happy Days. Ron Howard's a director. He got his start from the Andy Griffith Show. That's where it all began. That's what put him on the map to eventually being in the main lead role on Happy Days and eventually going to the directing, where he has had a great body of work. I mean, you want to talk about the type of movies that he's done. For those of you that need a little help jogging your memory, don't worry, we got you covered. I mean, who could forget one of the movies that he did, which was Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks, about how the Grinch stole Christmas, A Beautiful Mind. I mean, the guy just has an impressive body of work, but it all just ties into Andy Griffith right there. Don Knotts, let's not forget Don Knotts. He got his main start on the Andy Griffith Show, even though he already had a few years under his belt as an actor. But that show had really put him on the map, which would eventually lead him to great success when he had replaced the Ropers on Three's Company as their landlord, Mr. Furley. Okay, so everything just connects to Andy Griffith. Let's not forget the African-American guy that unfortunately I don't know his name right now, so you have to forgive me. Maybe it'll come to me in a little bit. But the African-American guy that was on Matlock, who played his sidekick, he would go on to do, for a long period of time, he would go on to be Chuck Norris' sidekick on Walker, Texas Ranger. So everything just connects to Andy Griffith. Great TV icon right there. Do yourself a favor, check out his shows, pay homage to the man. Really great legend right there. Gonna miss you, buddy. Hopefully you're resting in peace somewhere and you're laughing it up, telling jokes with Don Knotts, John Ritter. You know, hopefully you guys are resting in peace somewhere. All right, so we just had Super Smackdown Live go off the air, and as I said at the beginning of the show, it didn't really come off as if it was a Great American Bash edition. I just kind of kept saying to myself, where's the bash? Where's the bash? I mean, there really wasn't that much to it, because I'm keeping in mind that this is the first time that the Great American Bash is returning, as it's been on a 3-year hiatus, folks. Now, for those of you that like a little trivia, the last time we had got the Great American Bash, first of all, it was dubbed as The Bash, and it was back in 2009. Happened in California, where we would see one of the main events, Randy Orton, who was the champion, taking on Triple H in a 3 stages of hell for the WWE Championship. So it has that respectable history. It's got that, because remember, WCW, they had it, the NWA, they had it, and I must admit, WWE, they really haven't been doing that much of a good job when it comes to the Great American Bash, and I just really wasn't impressed. Just for the sake of the argument, let's just get the whole Great American Bash moniker out the way. Let's just call it for what it was, Smackdown. Smackdown Live at that. So let's just get that out the way right now. Now, tonight's Smackdown, pretty freaking good episode. I was very pleased with this, as we would see all the wrestlers enjoying a really nice barbecue, and things are about to get started as Teddy Long, he says, hey, Santino, can you do the honor so we can get this barbecue going? Light it up. The grill, that is. Santino, he's scared. He's not really trying to take his little lighter fluid, and he's not really trying to set the grill. And it just so happens, guess who's in the area, folks? We have the big red monster, Kane, who is just looking on at everything that has happened, and everybody is scared, wondering what he's going to do. Kane just lifts his hands into the air and just whoosh, brings it down, and he brings fire to the charcoal grill so that they can officially get the barbecue going. When that moment happened, I couldn't help but think of Tom Hanks' performance in A Perfect Storm, where he's on a stranded island, and for I don't know how many days, for the love of him, this guy is trying to sit up, and he's trying to figure out a way to get fire, because he knows if he has fire, he'll be able to eat really good, because he's trying to catch fish, he's trying to catch crabs, he knows he needs fire to stay warm, and he's just putting those rocks together, and he's got that tree, and he's just sweating ferociously as he's trying to make a fire. And then when he finally gets it, he starts beating his chest. I made fire, me, fire. And that's just what I was thinking for some weird reason, as I saw Kane just bring his hands down and the fire is just engulfing all over the place on that grill. I know, really weird how my brain is clicking, but hey, that's what I was thinking when I saw it. But anyway, we would find out that Michael Cole is going to be interviewing AJ tonight, as he's going to put on his journalism suit. He's going to bring his journalism reporting style, and he's mentioning how Dr. Phil, they won't have anything on him. Donahue, he just starts naming a bunch of doctors, saying he's really going to be able to get to the heart of the matter with AJ, as he is going to get inside her head to find out why she did what she did on Monday Night Raw to CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. Now, we would see Alberto Del Rio come out, and he's talking about himself, basically, talking about how he's finally got his one-on-one match against Sheamus, and promises to send him back to Ireland crying like a little girl. And he knows why the WWE Universe likes Sheamus, because he's a hooligan. He's a peasant. He's always trying to take advantage of hard-working people like Alberto Del Rio. And he doesn't feel that a lot of the people that dislike him are successful. That's right. Now, this is where it really starts getting pretty freaking hilarious, because Alberto Del Rio talks about how he came to this country legally, that he made money in Mexico, made money in America, and that they make him sick, they being the WWE Universe. And he promises that after Money in the Bank, Sheamus will be sent back to where he belongs. But Del Rio doesn't want to just stop there. No. Del Rio wants to do the same thing to the WWE Universe starting right now. And this was just so hilarious, because here you have a Mexican wrestler that's going around harassing mostly Americans in attendance, asking them where's their green card, do they have their visa, where's their paperwork. It was truly a hilarious moment right there, as there was one fan in particular that he picked on, who was wearing a John Cena green T-shirt, and he says, no, man, leave me alone. No, man, you got it all wrong. And Del Rio, he says, hey, security, come out here. We need some help. We need to get this illegal immigrant out of our arena right now. And the fan would say to Del Rio, this isn't Arizona. this is Texas. And from there, we would see the great white Sheamus come out, and he just starts attacking Alberto Del Rio. And Ricardo, he just happened to be there the whole time. He tries to jump on Sheamus' back. Sheamus hurries up, and he flips him off, and he's continuing his assault on Del Rio. But Ricardo would come back again, and he would prove to be the difference maker, as Sheamus, as big and powerful as he is, he just wasn't able to handle himself as the duo got the upper hand. And Del Rio, Ricardo, they just start beating him down. Ricardo, he comes up with a really nice idea. He says, hey, I'm going to open up this hood of the car, put him through there. And that's exactly what happens. As Ricardo, he opens up the hood of one of Alberto Del Rio's cars, opens the hood of it from the front, and Sheamus, he gets put right there, and Del Rio, he just keeps slamming the hood of the car over the head and the body of Sheamus, and Sheamus just suffers a really ridiculous beatdown. Now, it would go to commercial, but when it came right back, I just thought this was hilarious. We see Sheamus being helped by medical staff. Now, here's where it was really funny. We see this blood, or we're led to believe that it's blood, that's on his forehead. Now, we know that WWE, they've been making it their business to not really show blood on WWE television anymore. They are really trying to embrace the heck out of the whole PG area. They really are trying to adapt to the changes, adapt to the times. I can appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is a blood spot on Sheamus' head that is in the shape of a Superman S-curl. I mean, if it was ever so obvious that blood was fake as hell, it was that moment right there, as it just looked like somebody either put some ketchup or maybe somebody put a Twizzler on the top of his head. It was just really ridiculous. I actually had to rewind it twice just to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing, and that was not blood. I don't know what the heck that was, but it looked really silly as he was being helped to the back. Now, from there, we would get our first match, which would see the great Khali and Layla teaming up to take on Antonio Cesaro and Asuka. Now, remember, last week on SmackDown, Teddy Long had revealed to Asuka that he was going to be in charge of Raw and SmackDown for this week, and as a result of that, he was going to be putting those two lovebirds in a match against Khali and Layla. So that's why we are having this match tonight. Now, Layla, Khali, they would pick up the win, and I'm really trying, folks. I am really trying, especially for the girls that love their WWE divas, the ones that love Layla. I'm really trying, folks. I'm trying very hard. I'm trying very hard to sit up and embrace Layla, but I am just having a hard time accepting that she's a Divas champion. I'm having a hard time accepting that she, where do I even begin? She's just really coming off like her heart really isn't into it anymore. I feel she's just really coming off like, I never thought I would say this about a WWE diva, because I've never actually really said it before, but this has to be the one time where I want for WWE to do the right thing and just take that belt off of her, because she's not doing anything with it. She's just continues on a weekly basis to come off very weak, I feel. So I know a lot of Layla fans are going to be upset probably when they're listening to this episode, and they're like, hey, why are you dogging on Layla? I just am not impressed with what I'm seeing. It's not the Layla I remember seeing a couple of years prior, and it just really comes off as if, I don't know if, I don't want to question her heart. It's more so her body. Her body is telling me a different story. And no, not that her body is smoking hot, because it is, but what I'm picking up from her body is she doesn't have the same confidence that she had in it before when she had got her injury. That's the vibe that I'm picking up right now. And when you have that lack of self-confidence, as far as I'm concerned, that just really makes you more liable. It makes you more dangerous with the person that you're dancing with in the ring, because a serious accident can happen. So I just hope that WWE does the right thing. Next pay-per-view, they take the belt off of her, and maybe they send her back down to the plant and let her really do a better job of shaking off whatever ring rust that she has right now. But in the backstage area, we would go now where Cody Rhodes bumps into Teddy Long and reveals to him that the WWE Board of Directors, they have accepted his petition, and they've decided that he will get another opportunity to qualify to participate at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Teddy Long, he would reveal, yeah, I know about this, but what you don't know is that the Money in the Bank match, qualifying match that you're going to be having, is not going to be against somebody that's trying to qualify. No, it's going to be against someone that's already qualified in the match, and it's someone you've yet to beat. You're going to be taking on the Intercontinental Champion, Christian. Cody Rhodes looking very peed off right there as we go to our Raw moment, which goes back to January 4th of 1999. I remember that moment perfectly well, as that was the night that Mick Foley won the WWF title for the first time. Now, a lot of people, they'll sit up and say WWE. I'm old school, folks. That's WWF. I'm getting that right now, okay? So for y'all that's like, it should be called WWE. No. When you talking about all the stuff that had happened before WWF dropped the F and went with the E, I'm sorry, we're acknowledging WWF over here. They might not be able to really say it. We can say it for them. What a great night that was, as I remember perfectly well, because this is how much of an impact it had on me in my life. I could remember watching WCW Nitro, and I could remember literally flipping back and forth. And I remember back in the day, we only had one TV in the house. We didn't have like how we have it now, where we got 5 freaking flat screen TVs all over the place and little small portable TV. Now, we didn't have all that back then. Back then, you know, you're poor, you know, you're trying to hold it down, trying to do what you can, work with what you got. God bless the child that's got his own. You're trying to work with what you got, and you got one TV, and I could just remember every Monday night I'm just flipping back and forth to Raw and Nitro, and I could just remember hearing, Mick Foley looks like he's going to be having a match for the WWF title. Yep, that'll put butts in the seats. And I'm thinking to myself, really? And I could remember flipping the channel, and man, what a Raw moment that it was, because on that night alone, over 600,000 people immediately changed the channel to see Mick Foley win the WWF title from the People's Champion, The Rock. And at that point, WCW Nitro was never able to defeat Raw again in the Monday night ratings. That was a great moment right there. Now, from there, we would have our second match, which would see Cody Rhodes take on Christian. A lot on the line right here, as Cody Rhodes, you just knew he had a little bit of intimidation going into this match, because he's yet to beat Christian since Christian's returned to the WWE. Cody Rhodes, a lot at stake here, because he needs to prove it to himself that he has what it takes to not only beat Christian, but he has what it takes to qualify to be a participant for the Money in the Bank ladder match. He knows that when it's all said and done, if he doesn't get it done tonight, he's not going to be able to keep crying to the board of directors to possibly bail him out. Well, great matchup that we had, as Cody Rhodes, he would pick up the win, and he would become one of the participants for the Money in the Bank ladder match for the World Heavyweight title. Really starting to shape up right there.
Backstage segment, we go now as Zack Ryder is about to do a little DJ work, if you will. He's trying to light up the party as everybody is enjoying the food. Awkward moment as we see Hornswoggle, little horny, kicking back, and he's got his little feet in the pool. I just thought that was really disturbing to see a middle-aged guy that is that short with a beard, hairy legs, naked toes just in the pool with a little ducky, and I just thought that was just really disturbing. It just looks so wrong. I just wish that I'm not going to even bash it because when it's all said and done, Lord only knows how much money that little guy is getting paid. So, hey, I guess if the price is right for a little horny, hey, it's all good. Good job, horny. Anyway, folks, hey, I got co-producer Tammy here tonight. She's shaking her head saying, you know, why are you calling him horny? That's what he used to be called. They actually used to call him Little Horny. And until they went PG, then they kind of tried to clean it up a little bit. But, yeah, they used to call him Little Horny. True story. Look it up. Anyway, folks, we would get our third matchup tonight, which would be a Money in the Bank qualifying match, which would see Dolph Ziggler take on, hey, we got to show him some love because he's right here from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., our boy, Alex Riley, who really just continues to not really be doing anything. Man, ever since they broke him up with The Miz, A-Rye has just been going low, as Ziggler defeats him, becomes the final participant for the ladder match in 2 weeks at Money in the Bank for that contract. So, our match is as followed with the participants for that match. It's going to be Tyson Kidd versus Christian versus Damian Sandow versus Santino versus Dolph Ziggler versus Cody Rhodes versus Lord Tensai. That's going to be in 2 weeks. Now, you're looking at that and you're saying to yourself right now, man, who sounds good? Who sounds like they should be winning this? And I actually had to do a little bit of homework myself to try to refresh my memory because for some odd reason, initially I was under the impression that Dolph Ziggler had won it before. But luckily, one of our fans on Twitter, they had pointed it out to me that no, Dolph Ziggler didn't win. And they said, test your memory again. You know this. I said, okay, good point. Let me test my memory. And within 2 minutes, I remembered the circumstances. No, Dolph Ziggler has yet to win Money in the Bank. He was involved in 1 or 2, I believe, prior, but he came up short. Now, the way that he did win the World Heavyweight title, he basically had won it when he was feuding with Edge, and there was a stipulation that had took place where if Dolph Ziggler, I'm trying to remember, where if Dolph Ziggler won, well, no, that's not how it happened. Forgive me, folks. It's like wrestling memory that I'm trying to dig up here. Just give me a few seconds. Okay, I got it now. The match that he was going to have against Edge, they had sat up and said that if Edge were to use the spear at any time, he would be stripped of the World Heavyweight title. And sure enough, that's exactly what had happened, and that's what had made Dolph Ziggler become a one-time World Heavyweight Champion. I had to actually do my little homework, and I didn't even have to look that online. That's just how long I've been following Dolph Ziggler. I've been actually following his career since he was a Spirit Squad member. So when it comes to Dolph Ziggler, I am usually 100% on point when it comes to recalling rivalries, storylines that he's been involved in. So with that in mind, with regards to Dolph Ziggler, I know it's kind of early, but it's going to be a great Call That Match special, I think, when we get ready to cover the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I'm looking at Damian Sandow, Cody Rhodes, Dolph Ziggler. If I really need to tone it down a little more and I just need to go with one, as much as I love Damian Sandow, and I love him tremendously, I've just been very impressed with his work. He has been like a bat out of hell. He has just gone right for it, just right for that jugular since he's been put on main WWE programming. Really impressed with his work. I got to give the edge to Dolph Ziggler. I think this is going to be a situation of seniority and who's really been putting in the effort. I definitely think Dolph Ziggler is finally going to have his moment. We shall see, folks. But, yeah, on the SmackDown side of things, everything is set. As coming up next, it's going to be Michael Cole's interview with AJ. I have never in my life laughed so hard at Michael Cole. As Michael Cole, he gets AJ in the ring, and they show a recap of everything that AJ has been doing up to now. And Michael Cole says to AJ, what were you thinking? You weren't thinking at all. I think, AJ, that the board, they made a mistake putting you in the match as the special guest referee between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk for the WWE title. I think that you're a little girl, a teenager, living a fantasy where two guys, let's be honest, they aren't really that good looking. And Michael Cole would go on to tell AJ that, hey, I'm not sure what you see in them, but have you ever thought about pursuing a real man? A real man with power, influence, maybe a former war correspondent, voice of the WWE, a man with fame and fortune. Think about it, AJ. You can have all this. And he just starts unbuttoning his blazer, and he just starts showing AJ his love handles. And I'm thinking to myself, man, fool, don't nobody want any of that. Close your damn vest up. Nobody wants to see that crap. Luckily, Daniel Bryan would save Michael Cole from further embarrassment as he just comes down to the ring and he says, Cole, you're nothing more than a big, bad journalist. You are emotionally deceptive. You're a bully. You don't like a story that you come across, in the way you try to make it your own, the way you try to make it good is by coming up with stuff and putting words in people's mouths. This story isn't about you. And from there, Daniel Bryan, he would go to AJ and he would say, look, I know what had happened on Monday. I know that you didn't mean for both of us to go through that table. I know, AJ, that you meant for CM Punk to go through the table, not me. And I forgive you for that. I know. I was just in the line of fire. Well, the WWE champion, CM Punk, he had enough of hearing all this garbage. He comes out and he would add into the mix, and he takes control of the situation. He tells Michael Cole to get the hell out of the ring. It doesn't concern him. Cole tried to give him a little lip, but he wasn't having it. Cole, tail tucked between his legs. He knew his place. He went out the ring. He went back to the announcer's table as Booker T, Josh Matthews, they are laughing their butts off at seeing Michael Cole get dissed. CM Punk, now, he goes straight up to AJ, and he tells her, he says, look, there were two people that were affected by your actions on Raw, me and Bryan. What you expect when you're a wrestler, though, stuff like this, it's going to happen. And, hey, you got to deal with it. And he tells her, hey, I'm not going to suck up because you're going to be the special guest referee. What I am going to do, though, I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to be honest. Very concerned about you, AJ. You're not in a good place mentally. And maybe some of that is my fault. And I didn't say it sooner, and for that I apologize. But you need professional help. What I'm not going to do, unlike Daniel Bryan, is I'm not going to string you along. You don't deserve that. Daniel Bryan would cut off the champion and say, that's a big load of garbage. You're just trying to come off like you really care about AJ. You're trying to come off like a good guy. Let me tell you something about CM Punk. The only thing he cares about is that AJ is the referee, because CM Punk, you know that you need AJ to defeat me. Bold words right there. as AJ, she just gets into the middle of things as it looks like these two guys are about to throw it down. And in a very awkward moment that I can't help but dissect, she kisses goat-faced Daniel Bryan. CM Punk is just standing there kind of looking like, well, what about me? And CM Punk, he just quietly goes off, he gets out the ring, and he is just slowly walking along. And as I'm watching him walking along, I'm just thinking about the Incredible Hulk 70s TV series at the very end when Bruce Banner is hitchhiking and he's got his thumb out and he's got his whole life on the back of his shoulders in his book bag, and you just hear that nice little piano song. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. And they're just locked in, just tongue and lip, just the whole 9 yards. AJ, she stops kissing Daniel Bryan. She looks back, I guess, trying to see if CM Punk was actually standing there the whole time. And once she realized he wasn't, she immediately leaves the ring, goes, gets him, kisses him, and I am just thinking to myself, dude, that is freaking disgusting. A whole lot of things are just coming into my head as I'm seeing this. Now, on the one hand, we have Eve, who was playing her games with Zack Ryder and John Cena, and she got labeled a hoskie. We got AJ, who's slobbing saliva with Daniel Bryan, and then 10 seconds later is slobbing on CM Punk, and she's not labeled a hoskie. It's okay because she's AJ? I'm just trying to understand it here. I mean, this is pretty conflicted right here. I just thought that this was just really something that, from a writing standpoint, I don't know, man. I don't think they needed to do that, but they decided to go there. They want to try to push that envelope a little bit. More power to them. But I just thought, man, what a disgusting moment. I just couldn't do that. I'd be like, look, I don't know where that guy's mouth has been. I don't know what he's been doing. Do me a favor, sister. Go brush your teeth. Go get some Listerine. Put some peroxide on your lips. Kiss me in 72 hours. That's how I would do her, honestly, because you just don't know. You just don't know where the mouths have been nowadays. I mean, the bacteria. Anyway, folks, moving right along. All right, so we got a plug for the Falls Count Anywhere DVD that's available now. If y'all haven't checked that DVD out, have no fear. Upcoming weeks we're going to have a review on that. As fourth match on SmackDown, we have a 6-man tag team match in honor of Independence Day as the United States Champion, Santino, teams up with WWE Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter and Hacksaw Jim Duggan to take on Hunico, Camacho, Drew McIntyre. Notice a little bit of a problem there, folks. We got 3 immigrants on the opposite side of the team in Hunico, Camacho, Drew McIntyre. We got Mexicans, and we got a guy from Ireland. So you know what's probably going to happen right here, right? You know it's going to happen because you got Santino, you got Sergeant Slaughter, and you got, come on, think about it, you got Jim Duggan. You know that's Team USA right there. And that team would win, Team USA. I really didn't care about that moment. It was nice. It was kind of cute. It was nice seeing Sergeant Slaughter, Jim Duggan come back, but I really didn't care too much for seeing them. Now, backstage segment, this is what I had really liked, which saw Damian Sandow bash the hell out of everybody that was enjoying the barbecue as he's putting out there his intellectual words, and Zack Ryder would step up to the plate and say, man, what's your problem? Look, if you don't want to be here, bro, then just leave. And Damian, he would say, hey, genetically, metaphorically, you know the big words that Damian Sandow uses. He basically says in a nutshell, I'm not your brother. And the two of them, they would get into a brawl, which would see Zack Ryder pick up a bowl of fruit punch and he would try to dunk it over the head of Damien Sandow, but Damien moved out the way, and guess who got hit with that fruit punch? Well, we mentioned her earlier when we were talking about Raw. It was no other than Eve, who throughout the festivities of tonight's Super Smackdown Live was kicking back, and she was doing Teddy Long's old job, which was just standing there with a name tag looking stupid. So she is drenched in fruit punch. And I loved how Michael Cole came in and he said, oh, she looks like Carrie. But then what I thought was really funny was one of the wrestlers, and unfortunately we didn't get to see who said it, but one of the wrestlers said, Eve, you're wet. And I just, hey, I know. But hey, you knew the way that this wrestler was saying it, you knew what he meant, okay, as she just went running off in embarrassment. From there, we have our fifth match, which finally we see Ryback actually get some competition, if you will, as he takes on Kurt Hawkins while Tyler Rex is looking on. Looks like we're finally starting to move up a little bit as we're now officially done with the created wrestlers. Hallelujah. Nonetheless, Ryback, who was receiving massive Goldberg chants as usual, but with this crowd tonight, you could really hear it. Ryback, he picks up another impressive win over Kurt Hawkins, and he just continues his dominating streak. From there, we find out that Sheamus won't be revealed in the Great American Bash Battle Royal that's going to be coming up, as it's going to be 20 superstars that's going to be participating in this match to become the GM of SmackDown next week. Now, the participants that we have for this match are as follows: Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Jack Swagger, Zack Ryder, Cody Rhodes, Tensai, Brodus Clay, Dolph Ziggler, Damien Sandow, Kofi Kingston, Great Khali, Kane, Christian, Alberto Del Rio, CM Punk, John Cena, Daniel Bryan, Santino, and Big Show, folks. And from there, we see one more Raw moment, and I remember this moment perfectly, as it was the January 2007 edition of Raw, where Donald Trump was trying to figure out a way to top Vince McMahon as they were having a battle of fan appreciation. Well, Vince McMahon, he was doing everything he could to put on a pretty good show for the fans. It mainly revolved around what all he was doing, as he would hype up his appearance on the front cover of the Muscle and Fitness magazine. Collector's item for those of you that still happen to have that issue, as I believe it's one of perhaps 2 times that he's graced the cover of that magazine. Well, Donald Trump, he would have the upper hand, as he would create a definite Raw moment as he would drop in that arena real money. We're not talking a dollar bill, $20. Donald Trump dropped $50 bills and 100 bills from the ceiling. How cool is that? Everybody left out of there richer that night. That was an awesome Raw moment indeed, as Trump trumped McMahon. How about that? Now, from there, we got our Battle Royal match. This was our main event for the night. And it goes as follows, folks. I just happened to have the liberty of paying attention to who all was eliminated. And it would go as follows. We would see Brodus Clay get eliminated, followed up by Great Khali, Damien Sandow, Santino, Cody Rhodes, and Kofi Kingston, both by the Big Show. Now, it would go into a commercial break, and as they resumed, we would learn that 3 people had got eliminated. This would be immediately followed up by CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, who both went out at the same time, followed up by Alberto Del Rio, Tensai, John Cena, Christian, Dolph Ziggler, and finally the Big Show. So if y'all are keeping track, you're probably saying to yourselves, well, who won? Well, unfortunately, Michael Cole, Booker T, Josh Matthews, they didn't let us know after they came back from commercial which 3 superstars had got eliminated while on commercial break. But our winner would be Mr. Woo Woo Woo, Zack Ryder, who is going to be the Smackdown GM next week. That should really be interesting, folks. And that's going to do it for your installment of Smackdown. I thought it was a pretty decent episode. I didn't care particularly too much for the whole Great American Bash theme. There really wasn't enough of that to it. It's just one of those misleading headlines, I feel, to try to lure you into checking out an episode. For those of you that might be feeling a little bit nostalgic when it comes to the Great American Bash, I definitely recommend you check out some of the stuff that WWE has done prior, but definitely check out what was done with the WCW when they had it and when the NWA had it, as they both really did it true justice. It was really a phenomenal spectacle to experience. Really great memories right there where you really think about it. All right, so we're going to do this right now. We're going to go on ahead and we're going to take another commercial break. And how about that? We're doing pretty good. I mean, we got, plenty of showtime left. Let me just make sure, folks, because I don't want to mislead you guys in any way here. Let me just make sure we still got plenty of time. And, yeah, we do. We got plenty of time. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a brief commercial break, and then we're going to go into our Wrestling Fan Zone, where we're going to talk with you all, get you guys on the air, share your thoughts on what all's been going on, and we're definitely going to get you caught up on what's been going on in wrestling-related news. A lot of stuff has been going on, and we still have plenty of time for that, but I just thought we would take some of you all's calls when we come back in. For those of you that might be on hold, it's okay if you want to talk about wrestling news headlines that kind of jumped out at you as well, because I know we're probably going to be talking about the same thing, so feel free to chime in on that. So let's go ahead. We're going to take a commercial break. Is it going to be our last commercial break? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah? One more. This is going to be our last commercial break, Tammy? Okay, cool. So we'll take one more commercial break because we don't want to keep doing commercials. So we'll come right back. We'll enter the Wrestling Fan Zone, talk to you guys, cover some wrestling-related news, and if we still have a little bit of time, we'll definitely cover what's been going on entertainment-wise. All right, so hope you're enjoying the show so far, folks. You're listening to the Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show on July 3rd, 2012. We'll be coming right back, folks. Hang tight.
Tired of those wrestling websites that give you redirects, spyware, weird pop-ups? How about those misleading headlines? Instead of hitting the keyboard in frustration, why not visit InfinityOneProductions.com? Infinity One is the source for wrestling-related news and so much more without all the hassle. Visit InfinityOneProductions.com. Your keyboard will thank you.
Want to be part of the show? Want to share your thoughts? Call the RCWR Show toll-free at 1-888-342-9848.
All right, and we're back. You're listening to the Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show on July 3rd, 2012. Just got to let you all know about a really cool contest that is going to be going on right now. There's actually one of two contests that's going on right now. Of course, we have our contest where we need you, the wrestling fans' help, where we're trying to come up with a really cool name
for our Tuesday night edition of the RCWR Show. Now, we decided that we were going to extend this a little bit longer, so we're still getting names that have just been coming in. We'd love to share with you some of the names, but we thought we would just keep it to ourselves until it's really time to do the raffle. And plus, we wanted to get more people's input because more and more people, they kind of started catching on to it a little bit late when it got more and more closer to the deadline. So we decided to extend it a little bit. Now, the way you can participate is by sitting up, and you can submit your show name idea to us on Twitter at Infinity1Prod, and you can also submit your show name ideas to us on Facebook. We have a Facebook fan page. If you haven't taken the liberty of checking it out, you're missing out, as we're constantly updating our page with the latest in wrestling-related news and more. So I highly recommend that you go like that page. You can actually befriend us on it as well. Not too many people are aware of that. So have 2 and 1 right there, folks. Go check it out. We're on Facebook at Infinity1 Productions. You can also send us an email at Infinity1Productions@gmail.com. Submit your show names, ideas there, and we'll have it be wrapped up, if we can, come July 23rd, because major announcement, folks. Get ready for this. The RCWR Show, it's official. We are going to be making a rare Monday night appearance on the 1,000th episode of Monday Night Raw. Debated about it for a few weeks, but I did say several weeks back that there was 90% of me that was leaning towards popping up on a Monday, but there was that 10% that really wasn't sure if I could commit to doing a Monday night show, as there probably are going to be other shows that are going to be doing it, but based on the feedback that we received, it said, hey, you got to make your presence felt on Monday. You got to pop up. So we're listening to those of you that have been checking out our show. We're going to make a rare Monday night appearance on the 1,000th episode of Raw. And I'm going to be joined by some special guests. The lovely Tammy, she's going to be stepping away from behind the scenes, and she is going to be helping me run the show. She's going to be my sidekick for the entire episode. And we also have some more special guests that are going to be popping up as well. So we'll give you a little bit more details about that as the time draws closer. But just thought we'd let you know about that. So make sure that you bookmark it. Whatever shows that you usually listen to on a Monday night, check them out a little later. Show us some love, because it's not every day we get to make a rare Monday night appearance. And you'll be able to check out that episode live immediately after WWE Raw on our website over at Infinity1Productions.com, and you'll also be able to check it out over on blogtalkradio.com. Just check us under the RCWR Show, and you'll be able to run into us that way. So really great excitement news right there, but that's not the only contest that's going on. No. Our good friend Xander Demas, who has had nothing but good things happen for him since he last appeared on the RCWR Show, he recently signed with a German record label, and a lot of good things have been happening for our friend as he's been signed by Rock and Growl Records. And get this, folks, they're going to be re-releasing his Guitarcadia album, and it's going to be released to over 200 media outlets, and it's going to be available in stores too, as it's going to be in CD format. Now, here's where the contest kicks in, and you're going to love this. Xander needs your help. He needs original artwork. That's right. Those of you that have those beautiful artistic abilities, this is your opportunity to prove to your friends, be a little bit of a show-off, show your skills, step up to the plate, submit your best work. Now, this artwork has to be 100% genuinely original, okay? That means that nobody else can claim this. We don't need them having lawsuits and all that other silly crap. It has to be of your own, that you created, nobody can claim. Now, once you made it, this is all you got to do. email it, JPG format, okay? JPG format. You got it? Email it to Actually, let me start over because I read that a little too fast. I'm reading the email part. I remembered everything else. It's beautiful how my brain works, isn't it, folks? I remember so much. Sometimes it's scary. I want you to send your artwork to my good friend over at Michael at mtsmanagementgroup.com. Once again, I'm going to give that to you. Send it to my good friend over at Michael at mtsmanagementgroup.com. Now, the deadline to submit your artwork will be July 16th. After that, there's going to be like a 6-week process where they're going to be selecting the artwork. It's going to be Michael and Xander. They're going to be sitting up and they're going to be picking the best ones, and then Rock and Growl Records will have the final say on who the winner will be. And check this out. This will be the really cool part about this. The winner, they'll have their artwork be featured on those albums that's going to be coming out for that re-released Guitarcadia album. So whether it's going to be in CD format or it's going to be available in iTunes, Zune marketplaces, your artwork is going to be all over the place. And another cool thing, Xander is going to sit up and he's going to give you an autographed print-size version of that album cover. But it doesn't stop there, folks. No, whoever the winner is, check this out. You're going to be able to be on a future episode of the RCWR show. That's right. You'll be with me. Hopefully you'll be with Xander Demons as well, as we'll be talking with you and giving you your praise while also plugging the release of the new Guitarcadia album. And if y'all haven't checked out the episode that we did with Xander Demons last Tuesday night, highly recommend you go check it out. We had a really fun time doing it. Definitely good things have been happening for our good friend Xander Demons. Continue that roll, brother. Now, let's go on ahead and let's jump into our phone lines as it's that time. It's time to go into our wrestling fan zone. Let's do this. We have caller from the 269 area code. We know who that is. That's our good friend Dave. Dave, how you been, man?
Hey, I've been great. How about you?
Hey, pretty good, bro. What's on your mind?
Today, what I haven't seen that new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, how'd you like it?
I enjoyed it. I think it was better than the other movies, actually, because it was more the origins of the Spider-Man. I liked it a lot better, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how'd you like this past Raw, SmackDown? How'd you like SmackDown tonight?
I was a little disappointed because it just seems like it was all just thrown together. I was looking forward to seeing, like you're talking about earlier, the old WCW, how they would put, I was hoping to see the ring aprons and, the side have American Bash on it or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or even a flag match, something similar like that we used to see. But it was just another way for people to get good, WWE to get good ratings, I guess.
Yeah, it was a little bit misleading. I mean, when you really think about it, you're excited last week because towards the end of Raw, you see that, oh, man, it's going to be the Great American Bash edition. Oh, they're bringing it back. You're so excited. You can't wait to see it. But then when you watch it, you just say, man, I was kind of misled. It's kind of like Burger King sitting up and saying, hey, we got this really bomb chicken sandwich, new chicken sandwich that you're going to like. Come check it out. It's got all these really cool zesty flavors. And then when you go in there, you waste your money, you eat it, you say, wait a minute, this is just like the chicken marinara thing that they usually do. I notice no difference. So, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, at least we see some of the superstars on the Smackdown side. At least that's really starting to shake up because the real takeaway right now, I don't know if you would agree, but the real takeaway right now is it appears as though the Smackdown Money in the Bank match is going to be the stealer of the night when they get ready to have that pay-per-view.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, too, about the Raw one, because I kind of have a problem with it. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what you said anything about it last week or not, but because it's like, okay, the Raw thing is going to be for all 4 world champions, but then SmackDown isn't. it's like, so what's the point of, wasn't Money in the Bank supposed to be originally made to make new stars? And now we're getting, like, former world champions as, like, going to contend for that. And I have a problem with that. And Monday night about Jericho and Bryan, I mean, that was one of the most, I rewound that thing on DVR like 5 or 6 times. It was just one of the funniest ones I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on that Raw
awesome
thing?
Say that again?
What's your opinion on the Raw Money in the Bank?
On the Raw Money in the Bank? That's the only thing you want me to cover this week?
Yeah, I wanted to know, are you kind of disappointed that they're doing all 4 world champions? And it does seem like Cena's going to win it, which I hope not.
Right. And just jog my memory a little quick because I'm trying very hard to remember, but there's only so much I can remember. Who's involved on Raw again? Is it Cena, Kane? I can't think of the rest.
I know Big Show's in it. Crap, who else is in it? I know Kane, Big Show. I can't remember who's in it, but...
All right, it's starting to come back to me. Yeah, it's John Cena, Chris Jericho, Kane, CM Punk.
No.
Okay.
CM
Yeah. Okay. Right, because Daniel Bryan is taking on CM Punk for the WWE title.
I have a problem with the referee, too. I don't understand that, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. Okay. I'll go ahead and I'll cover that right now. Okay. All right. Thank you, Dave, for chiming in your thoughts and calling into the show. We definitely appreciate that. With regards to the WWE side of things, the Raw side of things for the WWE title, I mean, yeah, you would think that this would really be an opportunity for them to use that as a way to elevate younger talent, but it just really comes off as if right now, with SummerSlam coming up, and as we all know, SummerSlam is the second biggest thing other than WrestleMania, because let's think about WWE's big main 3 or 4. It's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. Those are their big 4. You could put Money in the Bank in there, too, because I must admit, Money in the Bank is a great pay-per-view. It's an opportunity to see who is going to possibly become a future champion. As we've seen so far, all the people that have cashed in their briefcases, they have become champion. There has yet to be somebody that has been unsuccessful in becoming the champion when they've cashed in their title. Now, keeping all that in mind, keeping also in mind that we got SummerSlam coming up, and like I just said, this is their second biggest pay-per-view of the year. I don't blame WWE for wanting to go with the veteran wrestlers on the Raw side of things, because the way this is playing out right now, and with the latest word that's been happening in the wrestling community, it looks as if a match between John Cena and CM Punk may take place at SummerSlam. Now, I'm all fine for that. The only thing I have to say is let's bring back that intensity that had occurred the last go-round when these last 2 guys hooked it up. That's all I have to say about that. I strongly feel that with the lack of talent that is happening on the Raw side of things, I mean, we got Randy Orton now, Rey Mysterio, when is he eventually going to come back? You know, I like how on the Raw side of things it's being done. I'm not disappointed at all. I like how things are happening on the SmackDown side. They're really trying to make the SmackDown side be more of the, okay, these are the people that we're looking at, but we aren't really sure if they have what it takes to be the face of Raw. Well, let's see how they do if we give them the opportunity to run as the World Heavyweight Champion. And this is the way that I have always viewed Raw and SmackDown for many years, which always keeps me very composed no matter how many times I might not like seeing what I see, which is SmackDown is more of the experimental episode, if you will. You watch Raw to see the storylines. You watch Raw to hear the people like Triple H, like Paul Heyman, talk for like 15,
20 minutes. You mainly watch SmackDown to see nothing but straight up matches. There's a lot of hidden gems that happens on SmackDown. You want to talk about hidden gems? Look at what happened when MVP was on there. Look at how it was when Alberto Del Rio was on there. Look at how it was when Kane had his last go-round as a World Heavyweight Champion on there. Everybody that has been very successful on SmackDown, even John Cena, we can go as far back as that. Seems like every time a wrestler has proven themselves on the SmackDown roster, sooner or later that wrestler gets brought up to the Raw roster because they've proved that they have what it takes. Same thing happened for Dolph Ziggler. So I don't mind seeing Raw rely on veteran wrestlers for their Money in the Bank ladder match. I just think that if it was really a case right now where they could really experiment with more younger talent on that side, they would probably do it. But unfortunately, there's really nobody else that's out there right now. Think about the last few people that were on Raw that were younger. And you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe, just maybe. Mason Ryan, that didn't really go anywhere. Let's not forget A-Rye. A-Rye was on Raw for a good minute, and he was riding off the coattail of The Miz. Okay? Speaking of The Miz, that's another one. Let's look at R-Truth. Yeah, he's got the tag titles, but still, who could forget that infamous run that he had when he was a heel last year? I mean, that was some phenomenal work right there. I strongly believe sooner or later he should get his time to shine, but that's a different story. But they just really don't have that much young talent on the Raw side of things. So for me, when I compare the two, that's how I look at SmackDown, as they have a lot of hidden gems, a lot of guys that are trying to prove themselves. And mark my words, the same time next year, whenever WWE decides that they want to do a draft, or they decide that, oh, well, we want to try to have this wrestler come over to Raw permanently, mark my words, same time next year, and you heard it here first, we're going to see Damian Sandow move permanently to Raw. Antonio Cesaro, his work has been very phenomenal. If he continues to do what he's doing, eventually he's going to be brought up to the main Raw roster on a permanent basis. Tyson Kidd, if he continues the role that he's been on as of late, that's another one. So, that's all I got to really say about that. I hope you appreciate that answer to your question, Dave. I hope it was as best as I could bring it to you for this week. Now, I see we got one more caller that is trying to get on live on the air. Caller from the 510 area code. You are now live on the air, my friend. How you been?
Hello?
Yeah, hey, you're live on the air. Were you trying to be live on the air?
Yes. Yeah, I'm a new caller. My name is Christian. I've been, listening to your show. I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's really off the hook. I think it's really, you talk about wrestling. That's pretty cool because, what I want to talk about is the 1,000 episode, like how they're having all these legends come back. Like, I would like to see a lot of more, like Scott Hall, maybe Diamond Dallas Page, but we just had him the other day, Monday, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, like, that'd be cool if they had like a battle Attitude Era, Battle Royal, and they should be involved like whoever get tossed all over the floor, and the winners are have all these like legends come back and have a really tight ass Battle Royal, and have like you're saying about Shawn Michaels, like him, like you're saying, like Brock Lesnar, they're gonna go at it. They're gonna have like some sort of like promo, and like where DX is gonna come back, and I really think I kind of like like you were saying like Brock Lesnar is gonna beat Shawn Michaels, but and it's the 1,000 episode, and I would like to see Stone Cold. Like, I hopefully like he returns on 1,000 episode. Hopefully like he makes an impact on 1,000 on Raw, and I think it'll be really off the hook having all these like cool legends really relive the moment, because I'm a big Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. Raising hell. I mean, like how he drinks his beer, and he was one of the best. And man, I really hope he comes back and stuns the hell out of Brock Lesnar. And
I hear you. I hear you on that one. Well, Christian, thank you so much for calling into the show. We definitely appreciate you calling in. You're more than welcome to call back in at any time, bro. We definitely appreciate you checking out all the shows, as well as all of you that continue to check out the show on a weekly basis. We love our fans. We definitely appreciate the love that we get from you all. Remember, it's all about spreading that good word. If you like what we're doing, best advice I can give to you, let your family members know that are into wrestling, entertainment, whatever. Let them know about it. Let your friends know about it that are also into wrestling. Get them in on it, too. And, Christian, you bring up a very valid point, because something new that we actually just started doing is we have a little donation tab now that's going to be on our show page, and it's over at our website, over at InfinityOneProductions.com. So we put in a lot of hours and we put in a lot of time trying to make sure that we do our best over here. So we will never ask for money, but we just have those donation tabs that are up there. So for those of you that have a PayPal account, you like what you hear, you like what we're doing, nobody's saying it's mandatory. The key word is donation. You want to donate, you want to make sure that we're able to keep doing what we're doing. It could be $1, it could be $0.25, whatever, Hit that donate tab, and you'll be good to go. Anything is better than nothing. That's what I always say. So we appreciate you all. We appreciate the fans. Thank you so much, Christian, for that call. Yeah, I would like to see Stone Cold pop up, and I would like to see him stun the hell out of everybody. I mean, so much work, so much time, unfortunately, has to be put into having Stone Cold pop up on an episode of Raw, as nowadays that's the only show that he's willing to pop up on, as he loves that live crowd. And it just seems like a lot of money has to be really put out there to get Stone Cold to pop up, and you just kind of know in the back of your mind, okay, well, we got to have Stone Cold. If they're going through all these people, surely they're going to eventually come to Stone Cold, who's going to pop up. We know it's going to happen. Quite honestly, if it doesn't happen, I would be very shocked, and I would question WWE just what the heck is going on here. You weren't able to get a hold of Stone Cold, who was part of several Raw moments. It would just be mind-boggling if they didn't get a hold of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Christian, thank you for that call. David, thank you for that call. Let's jump into some wrestling-related news. Now, I told you about this John Cena list that I had came across. And we're not going to dissect every single match that's on there. No, we're not going to do that. WWE.com, they posted this list of John Cena matches. He's been in the business now for 10 years, and a total of 5 writers, they decided to try to put together 50 of his greatest matches. Now, I looked at this list. I was done with it in about 10 seconds, and I said, they missed at least 10. And my girlfriend was just amazed at how my brain was working, because she's like, you're sure they missed 10? I'm like, they missed some stuff, yeah. And I'm testing my memory. I'm looking online. I'm thinking of the moment first, and then I'm looking it up online, and sure enough, I'm confirming like 95% of the time. I'm like, okay, so why weren't these added? Now, I'm going to just blaze through this list. Y'all try to catch up if you can. Tag along with me. If you need to rewind a little bit, you can do that, but let's just go right at it. Top to bottom, starting at number 50. Here we go. John Cena versus JBL, WrestleMania 21, 2005. 49, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, and Shawn Michaels versus Christian, Tomko, Chris Jericho, Raw 2005. At number 48, an odd one, John Cena versus the Great Khali, Judgment Day 2007. At 47, John Cena versus Booker T, SummerSlam 2004. At 46, we have John Cena and The Rock versus The Miz and R-Truth, Survivor Series 2011. Now, I just thought that with this selection, it should have been moved down lower. It should be in the 20 ranges, I feel. Now, at number 45, we have John Cena versus Kurt Angle, No Mercy, 2003. This is another one that I feel should be somewhere in the top 20s. At number 44, we have the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match back in 2011. At number 43, we have John Cena versus The Miz versus John Morrison, Extreme Rules, 2011. At number 42, we have John Cena versus Kane, Elimination Chamber, 2012. That was actually a decent match. At number 41, we have WWE versus The Nexus, SummerSlam, 2010. I would have moved that a little bit more higher up. I would have put that around 45, 46. At number 40, we have John Cena versus Triple H versus Edge, Backlash, 2006. At number 39, we have John Cena versus Randy Orton, SummerSlam 2007. That was actually a good match. At number 38, we have John Cena versus Chris Jericho on an episode of Raw going back to August 22nd of 2005. For you guys that like a little trivia, that was the episode where Eric Bischoff had told Chris Jericho, if you do not get the job done, if you do not beat John Cena, you're fired. This was one of the first times that Chris Jericho would have one of several leaves from the WWE. I felt that moment alone should have moved down a little bit more lower. I won't say in the top 10, probably around maybe 18, 19. I would have put it right around there. John Cena, The Undertaker, and DX versus CM Punk and Legacy is at number 37. 36, John Cena versus Wade Barrett, WWE TLC 2010. That was a fantastic match right there. Who could forget John Cena unleashing all those tables that were hanging on the ceiling on the stage area? Who could not forget him dropping all of them on the back of Wade Barrett? That was an awesome moment right there. Really odd moment right here. Number 35, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, Backlash 2003. I guess that's a good spot for it. John Cena versus The Undertaker, Vengeance 2003. John Cena versus Rob Van Dam versus Edge on an episode of Raw dating back to 2006. Again, that's at number 33. At number 32, we have the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match, New Year's Revolution 2006. Great freaking fantastic moment right there where Edge had cashed in his Money in the Bank contract to defeat John Cena after he successfully retained his title to become the new champion as Edge becomes the new WWE champion. That was an awesome moment right there. I thought that should have been definitely lower in the 20s. Number 31, we have John Cena versus Edge versus Big Show, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. Who could forget that? April 2009. At number 30, we have John Cena versus Triple H on an episode of Raw dating back to October 19th, 2009. At number 29, we have John Cena versus the late Eddie Guerrero, SmackDown, September 11, 2003. That was a great moment right there. Number 27, we have John Cena versus, I missed one, didn't I, folks? Let me back up a second. I apologize. At number 28, we have John Cena and The Undertaker versus DX versus Jericho, November 16th, 2009. That was a decent moment. Number 27, we have John Cena versus Batista, Extreme Rules 2010. That was a great match. Number 26, we have John Cena versus Sabu, WWE versus ECW head-to-head, June of 2006. 25, John Cena versus Edge, Backlash 2009. 24, John Cena versus Randy Orton, Breaking Point 2009. John Cena versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson, WrestleMania 28. That's at number 23, folks. This is supposed to be a match that's dubbed once in a lifetime, never before, never again, and yet it's in the 20s. That's kind of messed up, I think. 22, John Cena versus Triple H, Night of Champions, 2008. 21, John Cena versus Kurt Angle, No Way Out, 2005. 20, John Cena versus JBL, Judgment Day, 2005. 19, who could forget, Royal Rumble 2008, where John Cena made his appearance. Surprise appearance at that. Number 18, John Cena versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels, Survivor Series, 2009. Number 17, John Cena versus The Undertaker, SmackDown, June 24th, 2004. Number 16, John Cena versus Big Show, WrestleMania 20. Number 15, John Cena versus Rob Van Dam, ECW, One Night Stand, 2006. Great freaking moment right there. Crowd was white hot. They let John Cena have it. Number 14, John Cena versus Chris Jericho, SummerSlam, 2005. Number 13, John Cena versus Booker T, No Mercy, 2004. Number 12, John Cena versus Rey Mysterio. That is the July 25th, 2011 episode of Raw, where Rey Mysterio had won the WWE title, but then he had to defend it later on that night against John Cena, and John Cena became the WWE champion once again, but this would be overshadowed by the return of CM Punk as the WWE champion. Who could forget the infamous Money in the Bank match where CM Punk won the title and he did not re-sign with the WWE, thus taking the WWE title with him. At number 11, we have the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match from 2010. Number 10, John Cena versus Kurt Angle, SmackDown, June 27, 2002. Number 9, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 23. Great moment right there. Number 8, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, Extreme Rules, 2012. Number 7, John Cena versus Batista, WrestleMania 26. Number 6, John Cena versus Umaga, Royal Rumble 2007. Number 5, John Cena versus CM Punk, Money in the Bank 2011. Number 4, John Cena versus Triple H, WrestleMania 22. Number 3, John Cena versus Randy Orton, Bragging Rights 2009. Number 2, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels, episode of Raw, April 23rd, 2007. And number 1, you knew it was probably going to happen because they had a lot of great matches together. You knew that there was probably going to be at least one of them for the number 1 spot, and it would be John Cena versus Edge, Unforgiven 2006. Now, here are my honorable mentions, folks. John Cena versus R-Truth, Capital Punishment 2011. Let's not forget R-Truth. He was having a hell of a great run as a heel wrestler at the time, and you actually believed that he could possibly pose a threat to John Cena as the WWE champion, that he could possibly walk away as the champion. Really great moment right there, and they ended up having a fantastic match, I feel. Honorable mention 2, John Cena versus CM Punk, SummerSlam 2011, where Triple H had served as the special guest referee. Strongly believe that it should have been in there. It was a great moment. I mean, let's not forget that night that CM Punk had came back to the WWE right after John Cena just became the champion, and we had a case where there were 2 WWE champions, and we had to figure out a way to straighten all of this mess up as WWE, Triple H, acting as the COO, had decided to make this match at SummerSlam to try to crown a undisputed WWE champion. Honorable mention, this one might be a controversial one, but I'm just talking about from a historic standpoint and with regards to excelling further the career of John Cena versus Chris Benoit, March 19th, 2007. Now, this is historic in this sense. It was a 9-minute match in which Cena made Benoit tap out, something that Benoit rarely did throughout his career. My next honorable mention is John Cena versus Dolph Ziggler on the December 10th episode of Raw. You got to go back December 10th of 2010 for that. Really great moment right there. My next honorable mention, and I was very shocked that it didn't make the list, was John Cena versus Bobby Lashley at the Great American Bash in 2007 for the WWE title. For you all that were not able to check out that match, you may not be a little bit familiar with Bobby Lashley. Highly recommend you go look that up. Great backstory to that, as Bobby Lashley had got drafted from ECW to Raw, and at the time he was holding the ECW title. As a result of that, when he was drafted to Raw, Bobby Lashley had to vacate the ECW title, but in return, he was able to become the number one contender to face John Cena at the Great American Bash pay-per-view. And they had one hell of a fantastic match, as Bobby Lashley, for a great portion of the match, he really led the way, I feel. Great matchup right there. I'm surprised he didn't get an honorable mention. And, of course, this match that did not get an honorable mention, and I was pretty shocked, John Cena versus The Miz, WrestleMania 27, 2011. For me, this had a lot of sentimental value, and it even elevated John Cena's career even more because, yes, he might have lost against The Miz, but the fact that The Rock was involved in this match and The Rock would interfere and he would try to set up John Cena so that the two of them could face one another at next year's WrestleMania to settle the dust once and for all. And, I mean, just think about it. At this point, John Cena, he had more of a resume than The Miz, and this could have been a pure case where John Cena, he could have been a spoiled little brat and tried to have his cake too and say, no, I want to go into this match. I want to become the WWE champion. I want to look strong when it comes to dealing with The Rock. No, I don't want to lose to The Miz. If there was any time, if there was ever a time to try to use backstage politics, that would have been the moment as far as the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania. But John Cena didn't go that route. He did what he needed to do to put over The Miz and at the same time try to elevate himself even more, because all three of those guys, they walked away with more of a fan base. They walked away coming off a little bit more successful. When you really think about it, that match was just so fundamental. It was just so memorable in so many ways when you really break it down. So he might have lost, but he helped elevate The Miz even more until The Miz started acting like an idiot, and then they had to take the belt off of him. But still, it was a great match right there, and I definitely feel that it should have received an honorable mention. Now, unfortunately, we don't have that much showtime left because we went through a ton of stuff. We didn't even talk about Ring of Honor. We didn't even talk about the latest on what had happened with TNA. But, you know, we got a show for that. It's called Impact Showdown, and it comes on immediately after TNA Impact Wrestling. We will be coming on at our regular time for Impact Showdown on Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. You'll be able to check out that episode exclusively on blogtalkradio.com. Just look up the RCWR Show. You'll be able to find it that way, and you'll also be able to access the show on our wrestling website over at InfinityOneProductions.com. So make sure that you check that out. And a nice little cool feature that I have found out about not too long ago. For those of you that love checking out our episodes on the downloads, I got a little heads up for you guys. It turns out, you know how normally when you're trying to subscribe to your favorite podcast, well, remember how you used to have to do it in the past, and you used to have to sit up, and you used to have to be in front of your computer, and then you had to go out of your way to hit the subscribe button, and you had to do all this silly stuff. Well, we got a little bit of good news for you guys. You all no longer have to do all that, as there's a really cool app that's out right now, and it just saves you all of that trouble. It's a cool app from Stitcher. Now, it's free and it's available in the App Store. All you got to do is just download that bad boy, and you'll be able to take our episodes with you on the go wherever you may go. It doesn't matter if you have an Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, tablet, smartphone. Doesn't matter. You'll be able to play our episodes wherever you may go as you are on the go. So make sure that you check that app out. It's really cool. Stitcher is the smart and new way to play radio. On behalf of the lovely Tammy, Zed, I am the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. I thank those of you that have taken the time out to check out this episode. I thank those of you that are going to be checking this episode out shortly on YouTube. I thank you, the Stitcher family, for getting ready to check this episode out as well if you haven't already done so. I hope that you all have a very safe and a very happy 4th of July. I hope that you all get to relax with your loved ones and you just enjoy having the day off. For those of you that have the unfortunate pleasure by chance of having to work during the holiday, hey, we appreciate it, whatever it is that you may do. We appreciate you going out there and doing whatever that you got to do to be able to provide for yourself, provide for your family. Appreciate the work that you're doing, because when it's all said and done, you're in your own way making a sacrifice because you're not being able to spend time with your friends and family. So we definitely appreciate what you're doing there. And let's do this again, folks. We're going to come on live this Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, immediately after Impact Wrestling. We ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger. We got some TNA news that's going to be going on, as there was a ton of releases that have transpired within the past 48 hours, and it's definitely very alarming for the TNA organization. I'm going to be going into great detail about that and offer my honest analysis and opinion of the situation, as it doesn't really look too good for the TNA organization right now, as to date, with just not even 6 months under their belt. I don't believe, is it 6 months already that we have under our belt? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, it's July now, so we got 7 months. Within the past 7 months, they have had at least almost close to 10 people that have left the organization. I mean, that's kind of almost like losing an employee a month out of the